Bible is a Luciferian presentation. I'm sure you will notice the difference between this presentation and the last. There will be traces of my same voice in this one because this is about 45 minutes later after consuming food and beverages that had drugs in them that were put there by the government. Physique, psyche, psychology, and psychology, psychiatry, are related. Psyche means soul in Greek, the female soul, the breath, the mind in English. Spiritus. There are many Egyptian deities that are gods of the wind. So let's get to the bottom line, shall we? Eugenics is about mind, body, and what quote-unquote spirit you're in. The fake spirit of illusion, national spirit, globalist spirit, the spirit of pure darkness. The Bible is a Luciferian presentation, which is ineffective. It's a double-edged sword where the sharper part of the sword is facing you, and it is almost useless on the enemy. It is not in its proper context. It doesn't properly define warfare, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And it doesn't properly define evil or the devil. It is a long, drawn-out, watered-down explanation that takes a very long, unreasonable time to put together. The ideal figure is the leopard. The leopard can outmaneuver and destroy and rip up the gorilla, the bull, especially when applied to martial arts combat. This is why they are trying to emasculate me using chemical castration. And to a large degree, it is working. They are triggering the parts of the brain that make my eyes appear a certain way. They are causing me weight loss and tinnitus and photophobia. They are causing me to have trouble getting my thoughts together. And these things mimic a lot of the symptoms of mental illness. With all the textbooks around based on, they have to do with neurology and neuroscience, etc. In all the articles I've explored, it became very clear to me that they are basically bragging about what they are doing. And it's very obvious we see on the left, the Black Lives Matter movement. It's very obvious when we compare my before picture to after, right? I was like 30 pounds heavier, muscle. But even then in the before picture, it is bloated. It's really a during picture. It's before the dramatic effects made me super skinny, but while they were bloating me up. So I appeared to be bloated. The closest thing to an effective picture of me displaying my martial arts prowess, I will put later in this video. Okay, it is me with my six-pack very defined and my muscles, right? You can tell that I have a body that allows me to strike quickly and effectively and intensely, right? Think about tensing up, right? When you tense up as a big, strong guy, it has a certain effect and a certain reaction. You're not as fast. You can be outmaneuvered by the guy who is more skinny and to the point, block, block, pow, pow, stab, okay? Slice around, and someone like me, when he pulls out a knife, and the pharaoh is said to be buried with a flint knife, is going to outmaneuver the big, strong guy. And this knife is going to gut him. It's going to cut out his throat. It's going to hit his carotid. It's going to smash his trachea. It's going to smash his larynx or whatever it's called. It's going to just truly chop him up and deliver the kill. In the true leopard spirit, as this guy takes on a big gorilla, bull spirit, okay? A walrus, right? Way out of shape, okay? A sea lion, a whale. And we see that we use these words in popular culture. The leopard is a sovereign in the martial arts world. Not the lion, the leopard. The leopard can outmaneuver the lion and strike him down. Doesn't matter how big and how strong he is. In the absence of technology and unnatural warfare, a basic sharpened stick gives the leopard the upper hand. A flint knife, as the pharaohs who defined martial arts systems and all these religions were reacting to, were buried with flint knives. It was the Sumerians, nightmare, the Moors, the customs and traditions, right? The people who defined martial arts in terms of the God of this world, the Luciferian presentation of the Bible. without the living gospel, so to speak, the living conveyance of the truth through the top martial artist, you have nothing. You have greedy people of European descent. You have jealous internationalists, globalists, we'll call them people who label themselves Jews, and I'm not anti-Semitic. But let's face it, do you think they're not jealous of the beautiful mulatto, leopard, natural pharaoh who can prove it with historical facts and deliver a superior martial arts presentation? Not a whining, sniveling coward, not an Ichabod, not a fat idiot, not a whining, PMSing bitch, not a bearded lady, queen of hearts. These people not only have less spiritual power, but they come off as pathetic. They pale in comparison. The pale moonlight. But there's more to it than that. Why was the upper crown white? Because it has to do with transparency. The sun comes through the air and defines itself. So this allows the sun to define itself like a blank piece of paper allows you to write things down. You are supposed to be defined by Pharaoh, who is for Ra, not the pale moonlight of the werewolf worshipping ninnies. Now people will say, well, this, that, and nothing. Well, what is a werewolf? It's like saying you can't use the term werewolf because of wolves in sheep's clothes, but a werewolf changes. He seems like an innocent person who can go into church, but he changes to the person who's said to be psychic. This is crazy, right? It goes back to psyche. A psychic isn't someone who reads your mind as such. He is someone who reads the psyche, which, remember, stands for soul, the feminine soul in Greek, and breath and mind. A psychic reads your psyche. He doesn't read what you're exactly thinking. He's like a martial artist who outmaneuvers you because he sees who you really are and what your intentions really are. That's why he is the Pharaoh. He is the only fair judge. And you cannot kill anyone unless you are truly in his spirit and be consistent with sacred morality. Therefore, terrorists burn in hell if they actually are terrorists in some kind of controlled Muslim movement. White supremacist extremists who do 78% of the terrorist activities on record, not to mention through the state, my goodness. It's more like 99 when you count through the state. They also burn in hell because they are not in the true sun spirit of Pharaoh. That is a fair reproductive cycle which includes what? Life and death. I control spiritual life and death. I am not Gaia. I am not Amen. I am not Re. I am Ra with an A. I am Chuku E Mai Ka, pointed up at the heavens through the intense sun spirit. That part the Bible got right. The bright morning star, Malachi, the son of righteousness. The sun, S-U-N. Put it into its context, it's referring to Ra, who is not thoroughly defined in any text, any petrograph, any pyramid text, any meduneter, the language of the gods. He's not defined. He's only defined through the living Pharaoh. Without me, there is no ladder. There is no Ra Cubs ladder. There is nothing. Among men, I am a Ra. Not the heir E to the world, but to the spirit of heaven. Without me, women are nothing. No one is truly empowered. It is all witchcraft, sorcery, wizardry. And they will resort to saying he's talking about aliens. He's talking about being psychic. Right? He thinks he has these superpowers. These are martial arts powers I have proven for over 21 years. How could I be out of touch when they cannot even touch me? Out of touch. Senses. What allows you to be in reality? Your senses. When you see people walking around like this, right? Their senses are thrown off. Their brain is thrown off. Even after sabotage, I make more sense. Even after sabotage, I am still the top martial artist. In the absence of drugs, no one can beat me still. I am Pharaoh. I am not the kind of image they're trying to project, right? I mage, the magician, right? The image they're trying to project. Presentation. And I went over the wordplay on that in my other videos. It's not here with me right now. If you cannot see me for who I truly am, you are not of God. And it has to do with the reproductive cycle. You came up short. You came up fat. You came up spiritually sloppy. You focus too much on the presentation and the scientific angle and not the spiritual angle. I am Pharaoh. There is no heaven without me, on earth or in the afterlife, for any of you. None of your wise men can prove otherwise. They have come together to silence me. They are the bowl that covers the light. Their governments bully you. Their political groups bully you. They bully each other, fighting over what is rightfully mine. The admiration of potential wives. The position of leader. The top martial artist throne on earth. It should be as above, so below. I am the sun. I should marshal all of you. But instead, I only marshal myself because you are in the Luciferian or satanic spirit of the bull, the golden calf. You are the liars. You are all the enemies of God. If God is with me, who can be with God who isn't with me? Who can be the top martial artist who hasn't beat me fairly? Nobody has. I am Pharaoh. Nobody can still. Look at how they've contorted me. If I took off my glasses, which I can't because the light, even dimmed all the way on my phone, is too bright, you would see this kind of disturbing look in my eyes. Because they're triggering those parts of the brain that cause this kind of look in the eye. It causes certain behaviors. But can they stop the truth from coming to the light? They haven't. Can they force me to join them? No, because even in my most drugged up stupor, I know it doesn't make sense to join them. It is in my heart. As long as my heart beats, I know better. They can only disable me and have me in a coma or kill me. As long as my heart beats, I am the ideal man in this world and of this generation, no matter what happens, no matter what I do, especially after they drug and use technology. I am the ideal man. Any woman who wouldn't kill scum to get to me and be my wife isn't worthy of heaven. Any woman who wouldn't sacrifice her life and her family to get to the spirit which I possess, which anoints me Pharaoh, isn't worthy of heaven. Any Muslim who claims to know better is not worthy. Any Christian, any Jew, they are not worthy. You know them by their works. My goodness. I am a brain surgeon's son who gave everything to society, and I am what's left of the spirit of righteousness, while you celebrate with ill-gotten gains with your reactionary religions, your agnostic defiance of God, your atheistic defiance of God. What worth do you have? Those of you who prey on what God created, what value do you have? I am God's chosen. There is no Holy Spirit without me. There's only Luciferian energy, drugs, psychology, and racist church propaganda, LGBT church propaganda, garbage, garbage, garbage. A bunch of sects who are arguing over sex. There is no love without me. You cannot love your children without being with me completely. You only value their flesh as a sniveling, drug-induced fool. The difference between me and all of you is the chemicals in my brain are not stopping me from doing the right thing. Whether you're on drugs, whether you're on psych meds, legal drugs, whether you are just fucked in the head because that's how your traitor parents made you. The chemicals in your brain keep you from coming through me to God. And you can't prove otherwise. Because I am correct. I am the truth. And I am the only way.